Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Mickey Estoesta. I'm the Associate Director of New Student Services. Our office helps put on Golden Bear orientation that your students will be going through in a little bit. I want to introduce you to my lovely colleague over here.
And my name is David Ortega. I'm the Director of Parent Services and Communications. You might have received an email from me already. I have been on campus over 30 years. I'm a Cal grad, and I married a Cal grad, and I'm a Cal dad. My son just graduated from Cal.
Woo!
So if you need questions answered, I can answer your questions, okay? So that's why we're here. And Mickey and I will love to take you on this little orientation.
Yeah, so how today is going to work, one, we know it's going to get a little warm in here, so before we jump in, restrooms, men upstairs, women downstairs. Welcome to the world of Berkeley where nothing's all on the same floor. But it's pretty standard how that works.
I think there's a men's downstairs.
Downstairs
as well.
too? Okay. Yeah. So today what we're going to do is David and I are going to start our time with you all talking about what family transition looks like. And we're going to ask for you all to be engaged with us and have conversations, just like your students will when they get in their discussion classes in a week. And then we have some incredible campus partners, from folks from Residence Life to Billing and Financial Aid to UCPD and Student Learning Center to be here with you all today to each give a short spiel. So feel free. Notice that we try not to give out too many pieces of paper, so feel free to take photos if you want to capture the information as we go along.
Right.
Wonderful. All right.
Roll call. All right. We like to know who's in the house. Okay, so let us know if you are a first time sending your first student off to college. Put your hand in the air.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay.
Any veterans in the house? Is this your second student? All right. Nice. Third student.
Oh.
And I know there's one family here that has twins here as their second and third student.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. All right, how about four? Who's sending their fourth child out? Yes. Do we have a fifth? Whoa! Hey! Dare I say sixth? You're broke.
6 plus? No, okay.
And any others? Any more?
More?
All right, we're good. We're good. So this is a discussion.
Yes. Awesome. So I'm so glad to hear many of y'all are here because your students are having an early move-in. We want to hear how far you may have traveled to get here today. How many of you all came from another country to be here today?
All right. Where are you from? Let us know. Spain, Costa Rica, India, Australia, Singapore, Japan, Mexico. All right.
Awesome.
India, fantastic.
So
welcome.
Wonderful.
Welcome to Berkeley.
Yeah,
great job.
Thank you. All right. Other states beside California.
Yell them out.
Where are you from? Florida. Jersey.
Virginia.
Martin.
Florida.
Everyone.
Missouri.
Maryland, I heard.
Colorado.
Every state. Connecticut.
I believe we are represented by all 50 states in this class. So everybody, for the whole class, there's at least one person from every state in the union.
All right.
So fantastic.
Are Californians?
Woohoo!
Thank you. SoCal?
Oh!
Central Valley,
Central Valley.
California? Awesome.
All right. Whoa, come on!
They have sent 5 people to college. You should all move there. Northern California.
Northern California.
And any Bay Area folks
Bay
who just
Area.
walked over here. Yes,
All right,
awesome.
welcome, awesome.
And then our most important question, any alumni in the room?
Who's our alumni?
Welcome
Go Bears.
back. The chairs are the same.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And I like to ask one question. So, who here, raise your hand if you went away to college. Put your hand in there. Just hold it up in the air and keep it there. Okay. For all of you who have your hand in the air, how many of you, your parents went and dropped you off and set you into your apartment? If they did, put your hand down. If they didn't, keep your hand up. Okay. I'm one of you guys, so there's a good group of you. It's actually gone down from the previous years, where it's usually 2/3 of the parents just went off to college. You know, we're now, we're having orientation for parents. This was unheard of when my parents were, they just sent me on a plane ride up from Southern Cal, and I came to school, and most people got in their Datsun B210, you know, and drove up I-5, and away you go. So see, this is a big difference. It's not better, not worse, not anything. It's just different. So when you think about things, as you're going through your experience and your students going through theirs, please be aware. Things are just a little different. Okay, and know that it's a partnership. You know that we've been doing this for 150 years. I got a nice little lapel pin here of 150. Your kids, your students are the 150th class of the University of California, Berkeley. Fantastic. And not just of Berkeley, but of the whole UC system, because we are the flagship university. We're the first, and we tell everybody that, okay? Any UCLA grads in here, we're telling you that too. Baby bears are great. I love them. And I use the reference, be the coach for your student, but we'll get into that in a second.
But we also recognize that transition is for the whole family. It impacts every single one of you. So I think there could be some siblings in here. There may be some grandparents, aunts and uncles, significant others. Is anyone here not connected to a new student? Because you don't need to sit through this. Okay. But it impacts everyone. We know that if you have a dog at home, they might be having a hard time when you move back in. So we just recognize that it impacts every single one, and it impacts you. And so that's why we're having this conversation. We're going to focus a lot on your new students over the next week, but this is impacting you and your family as well. And so we want to acknowledge that. And we're actually going to showcase a famous family to see how they handled that transition off to college.
Not that that's my thing. That just popped into my head.
Honey, she's an adult and she's going to college. I want to be realistic. I don't want her to get caught unprepared.
24 times? What are you buying her, a 4-year supply?
Please, Phil, that would have lasted me and my college boyfriend.
La, 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 la.
Okay, we got to hit the road. Give your sister a hug goodbye.
Don't dork up our room.
Don't slut up your college. Seriously, though, don't study too hard, okay? I'm totally going to have fun. I'm Iceland in the mock UN. Mom, we're gonna lose her.
I am doing my best. Luke, come say goodbye to your sister.
I'm right here. Bye, Haley. Have fun. Don't drink too much beer and shots of tequila.
Why are you wearing that mask?
I like it.
He doesn't want you to see him cry.
He's literally masking his emotions.
No,
It's so sweet.
Come here.
it's not sweet. I'm an evil cyborg.
Half my face was burned off in an industrial accident, and the mask is hiding the servos that control my mouth.
Oh.
So what did you all notice? Are the things that you saw in this video, they're like, I connected with that immediately? Or what did you see, how the different family members were reacting to Haley's leaving?
Come on, there's a conversation here. It's
Welcome
not just
to
a
lab.
lecture. What's that? They were. She was happy, or? Yeah. So that means what? Yeah, that they're going to miss each other. A little bit insulting. So.
Yes. Different expectations.
Different expectations.
Tell me a little bit more. Who has different expectations? Yeah. Dad and mom. What was the dad doing? Protective, ignoring maybe the reality. How about mom?
Overprotection, did I hear? Literally?
I don't think we've heard that word used before. I think that's a good one. What else?
Who else was impacted on that? Siblings, right? What was he doing? Literally masking his emotions, right? And that's funny because as you go through your own family and your community, who else is being affected? Whether it's cousins that live around the corner, it's grandma 2 blocks down the way, or somebody you have dinner with on Thursday night or what have you. So that it's just going on. So knowing that there's some transition going on in all these relationships, just know it. Know that your student's going through each one of them on their own as well. So they're thinking about it as well.
Dave, you want to share your story about your son when he was starting to leave for
So
college?
we live 12 miles away, okay? 12 miles, keep that in mind. I like to have a conversation with my family about, what do you think about David leaving? Because we've been doing this presentation for a lot of years, and so I used it on our own family. And my youngest was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for him, but this and that. My wife was like, it's great. And my other daughter just kind of left the room. Well, 2 days later, I picked her up at her dance recital or whatever, and I was driving home, and I said, hey, you didn't say anything about David, him leaving the call. And she just burst into tears. And I was like, whoa, where's this? What's going on with you? And she just said, because they had driven to school that year. He was a senior, she was a freshman. He'd drop her off, and then he went to a different school. And so, but they had this connection, and I had no idea it was boiling underneath. So I just want to make sure that you know that it's happening to everybody, and everybody's going to have a different conversation about it. So, and it's not great, it's not good, bad, or different. It's just what it is. Okay?
All right, so we're going to check back in on that family and see what life was like on move-in day, which for you all is happening now.
Man, I love being back in the dorms. It's like I never left. Throw up a David Copperfield poster. This could be my room.
Honey, Haley and I have to go fill out some paperwork. Why don't you throw the linens on the bed? Oh, and move the car up before they tow us.
Okay.
Oh my God, what is that shirt?
Pretty sweet, huh? Haley Dunphy Moving Company. See? Because we're moving you here and here. And also here. Man, you used to love it when we swung you like that.
I bet we could still do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Don't you dare pick me up and take that shirt off.
What? Why?
It's cute.
It's not cute. Do you see what's happening out there? People are walking around and judging each other.
No, they're not.
Oh, really? You didn't see the way Muffin Top across the hall was looking at me? People can be cruel, so take it off.
Fine.
Oh my God, put on a shirt!
I don't know what you want from me!
All right. What horribly embarrassing thing have you all already done today? 'Cause I'm sure there's something. You woke up. Oh,
You're here.
how could you? Tell us, I'm sure you all
Tell
have
us
done awful
a few of
things.
these examples of how, like she was embarrassed. How have you embarrassed your students so far? Taking pictures.
Picture.
Mom, you can't do that.
No.
You cannot take pictures in front of her hall.
No memories of this ever. No.
Anyone else? Come on, let's hear them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. She said that her son did not want the younger son hanging out with him while she came to the orientation. Your son wants to change the way you dress. Oh, matching caps, Dad? Come on. You can't do that. Anyone else have something good? Yes, ma'am. Oh, a paper map?
paper.
You walked with a paper map? Oh my God. And you weren't shunned on Shattuck Avenue? What's going on with that, huh?
Did any of you ask for directions?
Who asked for directions? Come on.
Yeah, we don't do that
Yeah.
here. No.
Yeah, not in front of your kid, you
No,
don't.
never. I saw a hand over here. What'd you do?
Oh,
Did you all hear that? He slurped his smoothie while she was buying her books.
I don't know what type of dad you are, but that's a tough one. What's that? Selfies
Oh,
with your kid. Oh, come on, Mom. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So
She was singing with her headphones in, and her daughter said, "No, there's no singing allowed. Too loud for everyone to see." I'm
she
sure you
took
have a
her
lovely
headphones.
voice. Totally.
That's great.
So embarrassment is bound to happen today. But what else? What else did you all see when they were all moving into that room? Yeah. Dad reminiscing. Yes. Are you all, any of you all maybe who have gone to college or left, or if any of those alumni who are back, are you feeling that right now? A little bit of nostalgia?
And who has their T-shirt ready to go?
What else?
What else did you see in that? Yes, ma'am.
My dog is very much confused what's going on.
Your dog is confused?
At home with them, and we are traveling. So he's telling her, don't worry, they'll come back. He doesn't know she's going to go.
Oh, they're just making her take care of it. What else? She was scared of being judged.
Yes. What did she say?
Yeah.
Huh?
Did you? She
Yeah.
said, people are to me, but what else would she say when she said it? Muffin top. Do
She
you all
called
know
it
what muffin top is? Well, that's right.
Dad, I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
I didn't know either until we started watching
Yeah.
this.
So she was terrified of being judged while she was judging. How you all sensing that maybe your students are feeling that exact same way, and hence the embarrassment you are terrifying all of them with your embarrassment, but they're just scared of being judged? Yeah.
Okay.
It's real. We'll know that we're going to spend a lot of time helping them make friends over the next week. And they'll realize they're all Berkeley students. They're all a little weird. They'll be just fine. They'll be just fine. So what we really want to talk about is that change is inevitable. And we expect it. Like, we know this is going to happen. And we know that every single person is going to experience change in different ways. You all could be the parent who has been crying for weeks. Or you could be the parent who's being overprotective, or all these things. And your students are going through change in a different way, and they could be wanting to just be with their friends and ignore you, or want to spend all their time. But it's recognizing that they're straddling two worlds right now, the world of either their high school or community college or your family, and now they're jumping this new world where there's fear of judgment and embarrassment. And so they're just trying to figure out who they are. And today and tomorrow, all those days of not having kind of a group can feel really unsettling. So know that their transitions can be difficult, but it's okay to feel however you are feeling. So we want to affirm to all of you all, however you are reacting is just fine. And to know that maybe they might be a little bit on edge, a little bit more sensitive today, and that's okay too. It might be easier just to let them make the bed. And they'll feel better.
Mine never.
Yeah.
So we use a metaphor here of be the coach. And you might ask, why coach? And well, if you could see these awesome coaches, actually I love talking about Terry McKeever in the top left. If you saw the Pan Pacs swimming meet this last weekend, they're taking gold in men's and women's swimming. And I've learned a lot from them. But one of the things we like to say is and believe me, I had to take this advice myself in being the coach, because you've been involved. You are a coach. You've been a practice coach, in every sense of the word. Your student, you've told them everything about ABCs through potty training, through which SATs to take, which AP courses to handle, which AP tests you should be taking, what schools you should be applying to, and weighing in all the different decisions in their life. You've been in the weeds with them from day one, just like I have. But now it's time for them to go out and do their thing. It's their time to go out and compete. This is their arena for fun, but also for a little bit of competition in the classroom, and going and doing their thing. You can't do it for them, okay? So when they go out onto the competition field like an athlete does, who here has seen that coach just screaming from the sidelines? Who here? Raise your hand. I actually want to see a show of hands, because we've all seen it. We've seen that coach who wants their full attention while they're competing. You can't do that. They have to do their thing, just like you all did your thing in life. You go out and make your mark, and they're going to go make their mark. And as of right now, they're going to go and they're going to fall down. And when they fall down in competition here, these coaches, they can't say anything. You just got to wait. You've already done the coaching. That's why. So when they're out there, they know what you've taught them. They know what their teachers have taught them. And they're going to utilize that to pick themselves up, to keep going, and to do what they need to do. Okay? It's a great metaphor, because now you've become a competition coach. And you move to the sideline and you let them go compete. Okay? Well, in our instance, just go off to school and go do your thing. You're still there to guide. You are still their bedrock of foundation to make sure they know what's right and wrong and how they should be going on with their lives. They are going to hear your voice in their head every time they need to make a decision. No, seriously. So this is the time when we go from being a practice coach in the weeds with everything, and I've seen some parents who want to write their kids' papers, and that's not cool, not at all. Or do their problem sets. I've seen that too. That's not cool either. They have to do their thing, and sometimes they're going to have to stumble a little and pick themselves up and continue on to make that growth. Remember that.
So I'm going to give you all some tools to be able to do that. It's one thing for us to say, go to the sidelines a little bit, be that competition coach, but what does that actually look like now that they're here at Berkeley? We believe in kind of the theory and the tools of challenge and support, that most humans need an equal balance of challenge and support to be able to grow in their life, in general. And that means being pushed a little bit more, but also having that support system to know that when things get tough, they have people to turn to. And you all know your students better than I do, but David does, better than their roommates do at this point. So you know who your student is. You maybe know that they are going to be the biggest challenge to themselves, and you need to be more that support system. They're in their head, they're maybe doubting themselves, they're maybe struggling, and they're the ones who are like, oh, I got a B, I failed. Maybe. And so you might be coming and saying, no, are you using your research? Are you good? You've got this. You made it into Berkeley. It's not a mistake. No one was admitted on accident. Every single person's supposed to be here. And so you're that person. You're kind of supporting them in that way. Maybe your student's the one you're like, I got it. I don't have to go to class. I'm all good. Maybe challenge them a little bit more to go to class. So it's finding that balance. And you know your students. You know who they are and what kind of support you have been. You've likely been that same person, either challenge them in this way or supporting them in this way. But that dynamic will change now that they're here. They're going to have different resources and things like that. So knowing that how you've supported them in that way or challenged them may differ a little bit in this new environment. And that might take some time to finesse as you figure that out.
Yeah, and a great technique also with that is to ask them where they're at. Mm-hmm. If something happens, like say they get a D on a midterm, because it happens, you just want to kind of see where they're at. What do you think happened? How do you think you can go forward with this? Have you and then if you just ask these probing questions, they will answer them with the things that you were going to tell them. I've been through this. I went through this, and I asked my son one time, and he told me exactly what I would have told him. And that is the value of Berkeley, because they know where their resources are, and they know what they need to do. They know to go to office hours. They know to be in the professor's office hours and to get all the information that they need to get. But they need to do it. Okay, so it's a great place for them to learn. Communication is the answer. That's it. Make sure you're communicating with your students. Make sure there's a set of, you both have buy-in for communicating. It can't just be one-sided. You know, with texting nowadays, it makes it a lot easier to say, hey, you got time? You got time to talk? Or you guys are texting is a very valid form of communication. But make sure that the student understands your expectations. So your expectations of, hey, I need to know your grades. Or I need to know, why are you spending so much money? Can we talk about this? Adult conversations. Oh my gosh. It's now that time to go from parent-kid relationship to parent-young adult relationship. And ask and give them authority of what they're doing. And then hold them accountable. I mean, that's just, it's basic, but I'm learning this in my students that have gone to college and giving them an understanding of what money is in reality and what responsibility and what your word means. But so make sure that you have that communication open for your student. And then if you don't hear from your student for a while, two things. You might get alerted that, they haven't contacted me. Make sure to send them an email or something through social media on your computer, because I've had parents screaming out here after 4 days they hadn't talked to their student and their student's phone couldn't charge or they lost their charger. So there are those instances where they're going to go through times when they're going to be very busy. They're going to lose their charger sometimes. They're going to break their phone and don't want to tell you. So things like that are going to happen, but be sure to just be in contact with them. And I'm the person you're calling on the Cal Parents Hotline, so I usually get back to you. But I've had parents who have not talked to their students in like 2 to 3 months since they dropped them off. and they're trying to figure out if they're still in school or not. No, I'm being dead serious. So please, if you feel that there's an inordinate normal amount of time that you hadn't communicated, just send a text. Try to get in touch with them, okay? Because the constant communication is really going to help.
And I think it's that balance of probably if your students are currently living with you right now, you're used to seeing them when they come home at night, being able to check in. I am in my 30s, and when I go home to visit my parents, my mom still wants to know when I'm getting home, when I'm staying with her. I don't have to tell her now, but when I'm living with her, I still have to tell her. So realizing if there's something, even in that first week, you're recognizing that you're leaving them here in our care over this next year, and you're kind of feeling a little anxious about it. Maybe ask them to send you kind of the sleeping emoji text when they get back in. Or maybe you don't want to know they're getting back in at 1 a.m., so maybe you ask for it the next morning. But no, their schedule will look different while they're here. And so finding that balance, and maybe it's every Monday between classes is a great time to call. But I hope, and I'll give you a little more insight on this later, but specifically when this next week, we are going to keep them very, very busy. You're welcome. So they might say, I'm tired. Again, you're welcome. Keeping them, and so they're going to find that balance, and so their timeline might look a little bit different than it was when they were home, and that's okay. Awesome. So we're going to check back in with that family for that moment when they're leaving at the end of the day.
How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. You?
Fine, yeah. Great. Take a lesson from parakeets. If you're ever feeling lonely, just eat in front of a mirror. Never be afraid to reach for the stars, because even if you fall, you'll always be wearing a parent chute. TM.
Haley. Hi, honey. You okay?
Yeah. Where are you guys?
Almost home, honey.
Dad, I really like that book.
You do?
Sweetheart, is everything okay?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everything, today and stuff.
Of course, of course. If you need anything at all, you just call us.
I'll probably need some more condoms soon.
Not funny. I'm sending you some Care Bear sheets.
Anyway, I should probably get going. We have orientation at 7 a.m.
Good luck with that, sweetie.
I love you guys.
I love you too, honey.
So much.
Bye.
Bye, Haley.
I'll miss you.
So what about you all? How are you all feeling? What's going through your head, your heart, your gut today? Next question. Do I hear denial? Do I hear denial? You were saying something. How are you all feeling? What's going on? Yes. Excited and happy for her. What else?
Yes,
Emotional.
Yeah. Excited and nervous. Yes, sir.
Okay, this morning my daughter, when we were coming from Orange County, my daughter was asking, Dad, did I make the right decision? And I said, no, I don't know. I'm a registered nurse, I went to a local community college.
Mm-hmm.
Nursing.
Right.
I was telling her like, oh, it's not the college, it's the subject, what you're taking. That's what is going to get you a job or something. Then it went sad, maybe. She said, oh, you should be proud that I really took her.
Yeah.
She told me, yeah, but then, like, I want you to get a job and settle down. So, kind of little upset her. At the same time, like, tomorrow, she should hold the, what do you call it? She should not tell me that you didn't tell me, that you didn't guide me,
Right.
to take a
Right. The greatest thing about that is that he said that his student, when she applied to Cal, he didn't quite know exactly. He think it's the actual area of study, right? That's going to propel her to whatever she does, correct? But the great thing is if she changes her mind or finds something in one area or the next, she's going to go to another great department because they're all ranked within the top 10 in the country. So there's fantastic places for her to, whatever she studies, she'll be in one of the best departments in the country. Okay?
I see him back here. How are you feeling?
This is our last one. We've done this before. It shouldn't be a big deal, but it is a big deal if it's our last one. Well, that's a question we didn't ask.
Yeah, we forgot to ask that one.
Who are the empty nesters here? Put your hands in the air. Look at that. All right. Wow.
Wow. That's a
How do you
lot.
guys feel?
Yeah.
Extremely proud.
Proud. I see. Free of the ongoing conflict? Really? You did it.
That's a great one. I can't wait for that. Yes, sir. It's called Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
The wake-up service. No, we don't. Do we have a laundry service? No, we don't. But let me ask you a question. Who did that for you when you were in school? You did it, right? So we all learned, we've all been there.
Yeah.
And so it's our students' time now to learn to do that stuff as well.
And their
Great question,
roommates
though.
will let them know if they've waited too long to do it.
Oh, yeah, they'll get very stinky.
Yeah. Yeah. Like so your son's balancing this. You were aware of like
If you didn't hear her, she said that her son has been horrible, and so she's been like, all right, just go. And then he's been so sweet at times, and she's like, oh, I don't go. It's a balance. He's balancing you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
ma'am.
Building on that, every part is best of the country, whatever. I feel as if my son's not the reaction of, you go to Cal, how do you get in there so often? That I almost feel like, I don't know, does anybody else in here feel like their child's like, how do I get in there?
That imposter. Yeah. We hear that a lot.
You know what?
We actually spent a lot of time. They're within 4 hours of their first time with a part of orientation. We are going to have a time with all of them together, and our first message is, you are here for the right reason. And we did not make a mistake. You are supposed to be here.
Right.
And helping them feel settled in that, and so that they feel connected with other people. They're good. What choice they made right when they first get here, it's Berkeley, and then they're going to make a million choices throughout their time here. Yeah. Any other feelings? Yes. Because it's so big, because campus is huge.
It gets smaller every day that
Yes.
they're here. Seriously. It's like this big to me now.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Guilty sometimes when I actually want her to go and experience new things because I get that and that helps me.
Exactly.
So I'm happy for her, but sad for myself. But the main thing is I'm not younger. It's 9 years apart. So I've never been that happy to have someone who's that young that I focus all my attention on.
She's in the room.
She's focusing
Yeah,
her
she
attention
can tell.
on that little one.
Oh my gosh.
And while you're doing that, you're embarrassing your student as
Yeah,
well,
it's
very
perfect.
much.
It's
And that's
perfect.
great. Thank you.
What we want to say is, like I said earlier, and really want to reemphasize, however you are feeling is okay. And you can express that with joy and nerves and sadness. And you can feel incredibly happy and incredibly sad at the exact same time. And that's fine. But we want to give you all the opportunity to kind of share that with your students, because they don't know what you don't tell them.
Right.
And we want to give you that opportunity. We know that these days can be so filled with sheets and maps and things that just later on we're like, why do we spend the day arguing about that?
Right.
Because at these moments. So we want to give you all that opportunity to share all of those feelings because you're allowed to have them, and they should know because there's a very strong chance they're feeling the exact same things. So we want to give you all just a little bit of time to write a letter to your students. We're going to give you some paper and some pens, and you can we're going to give you 10 minutes. How often in your life does someone just give you 10 minutes? So we want you to enjoy that, and if you want to give that letter to your student now, today, maybe stick it underneath their pillowcase so they can have it, or mail it to them in a couple weeks. David's son, I think you had to remind him that you gave it to him.
Yeah, I gave it to him, and I said, hey, did you read that letter? He's like, oh, I forgot. Then about a week later, he calls me and he says, hey, thanks, Dad. and we'll get the paper going. Yeah. And while you're doing that, just remember this. Nobody died. Everything's fine, okay? But it is the passing of the childhood. Your child is now venturing on to the next phase of their lives, which is absolutely fine. We've all been there. So remember that. And so if you have something to tell them, please do. Just say, hey, I'm proud of you. I'm very excited about where you're going and what's going on. And then in 4 years, you probably will talk about this as well.
All right. Well, you have more time. I'm not going to force you all. That we want to continue to welcome our incredible campus partners who will be joining us in a little bit. But like I said, you all have so many wonderful things. As David said before, and we like to say, you are still the voice inside their head. They may choose to ignore that from time to time. But know that we want you all to be able to share how you're feeling and all those feelings of nerve and pride with your students. So you're welcome to keep working on these. If you need 10 more pages, let us know. We're happy to give you more paper. But know that we are a resource for you. And so we want to kind of transition now from our group kind of discussion time to talking about all the different ways that UC Berkeley supports your students and you all as parents. So before we jump into that, I'm sure you all have heard this before, but really want to clarify something that we follow as a public institution, as any higher ed institution, is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA. This means that any new student coming into Berkeley or other institutions, whether they are 14 or 63, because yes, that is our age of our incoming class, that their information is protected. And that means that maybe you as a parent, you're like, what do you mean I don't get to know your grades right away? I paid for this. Or what do you mean I don't get to know your grades right away? I birthed you. All those things should be allowed. But know that all that information is protected for a lot of reasons, that we do see them as adults, and so which is why we talked about that communication plan. So not having to run across that hopefully students are just able to share that with you all because you've given that as an expectation. So we want to talk about this purely because you may call and you might say, I need to know this about my student, and someone on the phone will say, FERPA, we can't give you that information. So I want to clarify a little bit about how we bridge that gap to give you info. There's also something called HIPAA, which covers your students' health information. So if they go to the Student Tang Center, things like that, that is also protected. But there are ways within Cal Central, the online system, to give delegated access to do one of three things. You can see grades, finances, or grades and finances, which if they grant that to you, know that they can take it away at any time without notice. But that's always something you're welcome to do. We encourage that. And so also I think to note is that when it comes to grades, we don't do like semesterly checks or you get the grade at the end of the semester. Right. It's not a continuous process.
Who here has Cal Central delegate access?
Okay.
Raise your hand.
Great.
Okay. Sure. You might want to talk to your student if you haven't done that yet. If you go onto the calcentral.berkeley.edu site, there's a video on exactly how to create a delegate access. Create you as a delegate from your student.
We're going to hand things off to our incredible Cal Parents team, and I'll join you back up on stage in just a minute.
All right. We're going to have you, let's see, all right. Let's get this going.
Welcome to Berkeley and to Cal Day.
Every time I come here, we love it because the people, I'm a people person, so it's just like, wow.
Berkeley has this magic There's an energy that kind of flows around here that you can't articulate, but you'll feel it.
On behalf of UC Berkeley's campus community, I want to extend the warmest of welcomes to you, the parents and families of our students. We are grateful and honored that you've entrusted us with your students' education. It's a responsibility that we could not take more seriously. As a parent, I can remember the pride I felt when my own children went off to college, but I also recall the concerns I had for their well-being. Fortunately, the pieces are in place to help your student thrive, not just survive.
Cal Parents is your central resource for parents, guardians, and families to connect with the UC Berkeley campus. Here at Cal Parents, we're trying to help you make this big university into a small community. We do that by allowing you to be engaged with the campus and other parents.
I'm a part of Cal Parents because I had such an awesome experience, and I wanted to make sure that I could pay it forward and help other parents feel comfortable as they're dropping off their freshmen or their new students to UC Berkeley. There were question and answer sessions, there were one-on-one discussions. Parents were made available to me, parents who had gone through the process, to sort of ease my mind around safety and security, housing, and just resources that are available.
Our buildings are on card access, so your students get an ID. We call it a Cal One card.
It's a great way to stay connected with your students in an indirect way.
Cal Parents was instrumental in helping us get involved in our daughter's life without being too involved in her life. They showed us how to navigate the online system for her grades, for making sure her bills were paid, and for making sure that she had a place to eat. However, we didn't want to seem too invasive, so we were able to make sure those things were handled without making our daughter feel uncomfortable. We feel like now we have a partner guiding us in the areas where without them we wouldn't be able to do it.
Cal Parents also gives parents an opportunity to give back, and there are numerous ways that you can do that. Philanthropy is one of those, but also being able to volunteer your time.
I decided to get involved with Cal Parents because as a proud alum with 2 daughters here, it was a great opportunity for me to contribute and give a little bit back to the university.
I feel an official connection to the campus, and I appreciate the celebration of that and the opportunity to talk to other parents. It's great.
The benefit of being a Cal Parent is that we have a community ourselves. In addition to our student going to Berkeley, it's not just a 4-year stint. As a parent, then we are spreading the opportunities and the information about Berkeley to create a community of Cal Parents where we live.
It's really upon all of us to get involved, and I think Cal Parents has really done a great job of showing us how we can channel our resources, whether they be talent, whether they be monetary, whether there be gifting, whatever it happens to be, how we can use our resources to make a huge difference in this university.
How's your sophomore's experience been?
Wonderful, yeah.
We're pleased that a large number of Cal Parents choose to participate in the life of the campus. Each year, Cal Parents donate tens of millions of dollars to campus initiatives and thousands of hours in volunteer time.
Welcome to Cal Day.
We are all here to make your entire family's time at the world's greatest public university the best it can possibly be. Fiat Lux and Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Hello? Okay. Want to give just our 4 primary objectives for Cal Parents, and that's basically to serve as a central resource for you as a parent to the campus, help you, empower you to help you guide your student as they go through Berkeley, also give you an opportunity to give back to the university philanthropically, and also an opportunity to connect with the Cal community via volunteer opportunities if you're ever interested. Who here went to an admissions reception? Anybody? In the admission receptions, there's usually Cal Parents there. They're from your hometown, and they're just there to answer any questions that you might have. So parents are always welcome to join in with whatever, wherever you're at, and if we're in your area, okay? We have one more. They do have this one. That's our website, and that's our Facebook page. That's our website for giving, for philanthropy. If you'd like to take a picture, that'd be fantastic. If you ever have a question, give us a call. Okay, next up, I want to bring up my co-director. I'm the director of Services and Communications, but I want to bring up the director of Philanthropy and Engagement, and that is Andra Lee.
Well, thank you. Thanks, David. Well, you all look excited. Can you hear me? What's that? Thank you. I'm Andra Lee. I'm Director of Parent Philanthropy and Engagement here at the Cal campus. And I know you're all hot and sweaty and you're getting a lot of information today, but I really appreciate just giving me just a few minutes to talk about something you might not have thought about before, and that is philanthropic giving back to the Cal campus. I know that's the last thing on your minds right now as you're moving in your students. Believe me, I get it. But you may know already that tuition only pays a very small amount of the costs of educating your child. I think most people are pretty much aware of that. And state funding is at an all-time low. Cal is a public university. Only about 14% of our campus's budget comes from the state. So of course, we are very reliant on our alumni giving, and believe it or not, parent giving. It's very significant. We encourage parents who can make a gift to please consider giving to the Cal Parents Fund. This goes for all types of services that students need on campus, and that includes direct student support. About 65% of our students right now receive some type of financial aid to enable them to come to Cal. And I have a student here, I think you've noticed her, lovely Lena. And she's going to talk a little bit about how meaningful a scholarship was to her, Lena Camille. She's going to be a second year, which is a sophomore. So thank you, David. So Lena, why don't you tell us a little bit about the kind of scholarship you got and just how it's affected your life.
First, I'm going to formally introduce myself. My name is Lena. I'm about to be a sophomore here at Berkeley, and I'm studying molecular and cell biology. And I'm a Fiat Lux Scholar. The scholarship has helped me in so many ways, the major being like financially, and easing the financial burden of attending the school has allowed me so many opportunities because I have the chance to do other things with my time and prosper as a student by engaging in activities, organizations, and also maybe even doing research. And other than having me engaged, I've had opportunities from the scholarship that are invaluable to me because I get to meet people and form a community. And in general, I get a lot of mentorship and guidance. And I feel like that has contributed tremendously to me being able to attend this school and succeed. And yeah.
That's great. That's great. Let's give her a hand. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Lena said she was very, very nervous, but I think she did a fantastic job. And I tell you, those are the kinds of students we have here at Cal, and your student is one of them too. So just to reiterate and just close this out, like I said, just a few minutes here. If you want to make a gift today and you have the capacity to do so, I invite you to go to give.berkeley.edu/parents, Cal Parents. It could be parents or Cal Parents, actually. That's going to take you to a site, and I hope you will just make a small gift today. I will tell you this, if you can make a gift of $100 to the Cal Parents Fund today, when you leave, there's no hurry, but when you get done and you leave, our parents' table's out there on the outside. I think you saw it probably as you came in. And we have specially made Cal Parent Bear keychains, and they're available nowhere else. I had the architecture school make them for us, and they're wooden, they're really cute. And so if you make a $100 donation today and you just show it to our gals out there and guys out there at the desk, we'll give you one of those special keychains. So just please go to give.berkeley.edu/CalParents And make that gift if you can. And if you can't, that's okay. We're glad you're here. But just wanted to make sure that you understood, what we're looking at here and how we all give. And we want you to give and we want you to volunteer too. So please stop by our table and find out how you can do that as well. So thank you very much.
Excuse me, one more time. All right. Go for it. One more time. And go back to, I gave you, yeah, make sure you're all set. All right. So, yeah, everyone phones up.
Okay, as you're making flight reservations and stuff, know that Thanksgiving break is Wednesday through Friday. So we don't have instructions on Wednesday, So if you're buying a ticket, it could be Tuesday night. If they don't have class on Tuesday, they're Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can get out on Monday night for Thanksgiving. So just know that, okay? Also, I usually put our first Cal football game up here so all of you can attend. But, we didn't put it up this time. September 1 versus North Carolina. It's going to be great. Go Bears.
Homecoming weekend?
Homecoming. Oh, Parent Weekend. October 12th through 14th. You got to be back. Actually,
Just enough time to miss them.
It's a great time to come back because it's about 6 weeks, 8 weeks out, and your student will really appreciate the time with you. More than they've ever shown up until this point. Yes, sir. No class on Wednesday. On Wednesday. They can leave Tuesday night. Or if they don't have class on Tuesday, they can leave on Monday. They should have class on Monday or Tuesday. One of those two. If they're not, they're lying. All right.
We also want to clarify some things. Something that's unique about Berkeley is we have something called RRR Week. It's rest, resuscitation, and relaxation. No, there's always too many things. Where's our alumni? Students call it reading, writing, and resuscitation. That's what that. Writing starts with a W. There we go. All right, but that's an entire week before finals where students have no classes. If they say they're free to come home, say no. They need to use that time. It's a really great resource that we have still built into our institution. There's an entire week. There's often a lot of prep things and study courses and things like that that's necessary for their success in finals that next week. So just want to make sure that they know that that is an important week. And then the spring semester starts a little bit later. If you notice, the MLK holiday and celebration is actually a week later than it has been the past couple days. So the spring semester starts on January 21st, but January 17th, if you pop back, David. Did it? January 17th is the Thursday before classes for the spring semester, and that's when residence hall move-in could be. So if they're coming back in, that's the earliest they can move in for the spring. So there's some time. Yeah. So that's the earliest they can move in. They do not have to move in until right before classes start. So just clarifying that piece there.
Most people get here on Sunday.
Yeah. All right, all of these dates are up on the UC Berkeley academic calendar. The academic calendar is also public for the next couple years as well. So if you want to start planning ahead for graduation, you can do that.
It's also on the Cal Parents website. We update important dates on that website as well. Yes, ma'am.
I saw a hand here.
Okay, great question. Move out for the semester. When you're moving back out for this winter break, we close the residence halls, so they take whatever they need, clothes, laptop, whatever they need, and go home. And they leave the rest of their stuff in their room, and they lock it up, and everything gets locked up and secured for the winter break, okay? And so, but you have to be out of here by Saturday at 10 a.m. That's when they secure the buildings. In the springtime, when they're moving out, then you have till Sunday after finals, 10 a.m. to have all your stuff out and checked out with your RA. Good question.
See a hand over here.
I think the RAs might go by, but
there could be some safety, but not every room is not checked. So if they leave a sandwich in the trash, they're going to be welcome to that sandwich when they return.
Trial by fire.
Got a question over here. Yeah.
No, it's not mandatory. Parent weekend is not mandatory. It's a great time to come, but you don't have to come. It's open for all alumni to come back. We have our homecoming football game, and we welcome parents back with special programs and more conversations for you to have with the people on the campus, so you can get more. You can have more information. Yeah. I have this lady right here. Bikes, well...
We're actually going to have UCPD
Yeah,
talk about
UCPD will come and talk about bikes
just a little minute.
and where they get stored.
We'll get you that.
Yes, sir. Your son's what?
Move out is on December 19th.
Where's he living?
No, in the residence. He's
What
moving
residence hall is he living in? No, it's 15th.
Yeah. So likely you're going to either have to look to change a flight or find a hotel.
Because they do need to move out on the 15th.
They have to be out.
They have to be out.
We secure the space. Because there's also, and you'll hear from them, there are staff members who work 24/7 in those spaces, and we'd like to give them a little break. We have one question in the back, and then we're going to jump ahead to all the rest of folks.
What do you have for summer housing?
There's a lot of great options. So if you go to the housing website, there's the question was, what is there for summer housing? A lot of the same campus resources are also available. It might mean that a student has to move to a different residence hall room within the units. But they'll get a lot of information for your students who probably around January, February, they're actually going to start talking to them about the next year, about how to search for housing around Berkeley, whether that's staying in the residence halls or looking at apartments, how to detect the best Craigslist. Cal Rentals, so we have a lot of resources for your students, knowing that many of them will live in non-university owned housing in their second, third, fourth year. So we'll start that conversation with them in January. Awesome. All right, we're going to jump ahead. I promise we won't leave. We'll get you all your questions. So I want to, before we welcome our few campus partners who are going to talk to you about kind of the holistic nature of the resources available to students, I want to let you all know what your students are doing over the next week. You might have questions like, Golden Bear Orientation, what is that exactly? What are they doing? And you might hear for some of these presenters, make sure to tell your students. I want to alleviate you. You don't have to tell them anything. We've got it. Okay? So if you don't have to have this fear of like, I didn't tell them about this deadline or this safety resource or where to put their bike. We build all of Golden Bear Orientation to make sure they have a successful transition. You'll notice that our orientation is different than most other institutions. It's an entire week. And we do this because we think there is much more to being successful on this campus as a student than knowing a tour and being enrolled in your classes. It's building community. It's having a conversation about what kind of community you want to be a part of. It's knowing how to use the BART system. It's knowing San Francisco and Oakland and all those pieces. It's having a conversation with the entire incoming class about their identities and how those come into play. It's also for our transfers, connecting them to businesses in this area. And what I think is most important is making sure they have a strong, smaller community so that when classes start, they have that baseline. Because you know that their friends and you all having that sense of community and they're all in a new place together is so essential. So every single student group, you may be asking, what's my student's schedule? Every single unique group, so your students are going to be in small orientation groups. If they live in the residence halls, it will be with other folks in the residence halls, led by continuing students who we got done with 3 days of training. They volunteer their time because they love Cal so much that they want to walk these new students through this experience. So hopefully all your students will be orientation leaders next year. That's my plug. But they're going to have that small group, so this place doesn't feel so big. I heard you all say, it's big, right? It's going to make it feel smaller for them. And each group has a unique schedule. We do this because we need to feed them, and we can't fit them, every single person in the same dining hall at the exact same time. And then it would be awful if all we did was have all 9,000 people in one spot for all one time. So we vary the kind of programming. We also will keep them occupied every evening until midnight. They can choose to go to sleep, but we have things going on every single night. So if they tell you they're bored or nothing's going on, they are literally sitting in a corner and not talking to anyone. So for example, so here's very first thing, Thursday night, guess what's happening? We're taking over the Emeryville and Target, and we're busing people over there. So if they forgot something, they're fine. We're also having 3,000 person silent disco on Memorial Glade. And I promise you, those things, that building of community, this feeling like this place is comfortable, is so important for their success. They're also going to have a full day and a half with their individual college and program. So they're also going to be talking about their academics, their enrollment. So they've gotten enrolled. Now we're going to have the secondary conversation of how do you succeed in this program? How do you succeed in this major? So they're going to get all of this, and it's all for them. And so I promise you, they'll be tired, and it's a good thing. We have a lot of flexibility, so if they need to take a nap, they take a nap. If they need to go to financial aid, they go to financial aid. It's completely fine. So know that we've really built this on a lot of talking to current students, staff members, alumni. What do students need to succeed, and why are we waiting until year 2 or 3, or for each one of them to figure it out themselves? Let's put it all together. So it's an incredible program. This is actually year 2 of this program, so your students are getting actually our second go-around, which I think is way better than our first. Is pretty good. They're getting the good one because we found all the fun little kinks last year. So we're so excited to have them. Know that if you have questions or resources, you all obviously can talk with Cal Parents Office. Know that our office, New Student Services, is also available. Our response time is usually 24 to 48 business hours, but you're all calling at the exact same time, so we're working really hard to get back to you right now. But I just want you to know we're excited to have them, and we are going to make sure that they are going to have an incredible experience. They're going to feel connected. They might feel overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. They're from so many different places and experiences, but we want to make sure that when classes start, they're settled. Maybe someone might even teach them to do laundry at some point during the week. Not me, somebody else. But that's all part of it, because we know that they are holistic human beings. Every part of them is what got them into Berkeley, and we want to honor that through this week. So they're feeling safe and successful, and that they can thrive, not just survive at Berkeley. It's our fun little lingo. We are going to have a couple campus partners coming. Can anyone who's looking out the hallway see if there's a police officer out there? There, oh, hi. Sneaky. All right, wonderful. Well, hi, y'all. So just also want to we're going to have campus partners from UCPD talking about campus safety. We're going to have, unfortunately, our folks from the Student Learning Center. We're not available today, so I have been briefed to teach you all a little bit about that, so bear with me on that one. And we're going to have folks from Residence Life, University Health Services, Financial Aid, and Billing and Payment Services. So all these folks will be coming. Each is going to give about a 10 to 15-minute presentation. There may or may not be time for questions. And so I know that you all have so many things and so many resources and questions you may have. They're going to give you a lot of information. Know 2 things. One, we're going to share this with your students throughout this upcoming week, maybe in a different way than everyone sitting in a room, a little bit more dynamic. But we also know that all of these resources are all available on websites, and they all exist. There's connections to other resources. So know that you aren't being lost in all this information, and you don't ever have to, you're going to lose it forever. I am going to ask that if you have a unique question to your specific student, do not ask that for the whole group, just because we want to make sure that we're honoring everyone's time. We know you have a lot going on today. So I'm going to pass things off, and we're going to talk next about campus safety. And I'm going to stand in the back and give you a little.
I'll do my part.
All right.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Round of applause.
Good. Oh. Round of applause isn't something I'm used to getting usually. But, I have a presentation too? Oh boy, this ought to be good. Anyways, I'm not used to having such a big room and being on video. If I'd known that, I would have asked for better lighting, right here. But apparently we've got a presentation here. I'm going to start with a little bit about me. My name is Sergeant Nicholas Hernandez. I'm with the University of California Police Department here in Berkeley. I'm starting my 13th year here at Cal. I have sort of a history here on campus. My father went here, my father-in-law went here, my mother-in-law went here. Of course, I went to Sacramento State. So, but with that being said, since I've been 10 years old, I haven't missed a big game between Cal and Stanford in 28 years. So I have been on this campus, live, breathe, I bleed blue and gold, no doubt about it. So when it comes to your students that you're entrusting with us here at Cal, I take that personally. I want to see your students succeed. This is the greatest university in the world, except for Sac State, but it's very special that you guys are here, and I take that personally. I personally work in the Office of the Chief, so my mission is to make sure we move forward and continue to try and make things better for your students, make sure your experiences here are better, and to make sure that safety is a top priority. Safety obviously is a top priority for the police department, but we want to try and spread the best message we possibly can for everybody. So this is where we are located. I'm sure many, if not all of you, have been to Sproul Hall. If you use the restrooms at Sproul Hall, you've probably seen us because we're in the basement. But we're right there on campus. We're centrally located. So we're very easily accessible. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. When your students go on break, we don't. We're still there. We are a full-service police department. We've got a SWAT team, motors, bicycle officers, foot patrol, car patrol. The way I like to describe it is we have everything a municipal police department would have except for horses and helicopters. Those are the only things that we don't have. We even have a full-service bomb team. So we have a full-service bomb team that we actually contract with other cities, and we actually cover the entire county of Marin. So this is our website. If you don't take anything from me, right here, this website, police.berkeley.edu. Any information that I may not have talked about, or you thought, hey, I didn't learn about Nixle enough, or I didn't learn about the bicycle program, or the shuttles, or anything like that, that's all on the website, and it's all accessible through there. Oh, good. Not a picture of me. That's good. Oh, like I already said that. See? One step ahead of my colleague. Over 150 employees, 75 sworn officers, 50 non-sworn. We also have a full-service dispatch and comm center. What else we got? Oh, I talked about all this. Patrol, investigations, detectives, officer emergency preparedness is with us, resource specialists, alarms, videos, everything. It's all up there. I know you guys have been in here for a long time, so I'm going to try and speed through this. Oh, this is important. So we have a system on campus called the Code Blue telephones. Code Blue telephones are located campus-wide. They're inside buildings, outside buildings. They're in the libraries. If you haven't been to the library, Doe Library, it's actually below ground, so cell service isn't great. So if somebody's having a medical emergency or there's some kind of emergency, there's actually Code Blue telephones located within the library. All you have to do is push the button, talk to the speakerphone, and even if the speakerphone's not working properly, it'll go to the comm center, and it'll tell us where you're at and where to go, and officers respond within a couple minutes. But these are located everywhere. I challenge all of you to kind of go outside and find one, and see how close they are. If your cell phone's not working, this is a way to access us. Okay, so this is one of our things that we talk about every year. And I don't know if you guys have talked about through housing yet about the card key access. Most of our buildings have card key access. And what happens is you'll card key in. Oh, yeah, come on in. They'll hold the door open for somebody. Well, you don't know who they are. They could be there looking for laptops. They could be there, looking to crime opportunity. Our number one crime on campus is generally theft. A lot of times what happens is somebody will ask somebody, hey, can you watch my laptop for me? You'll watch it for me, right? I'm just going to use the restroom. They come back, laptop's gone. So if you see something that's not quite right, we encourage students to report it. Let us make the determination whether or not this person's supposed to be there or not. Especially don't let people come back in. I just talked about that. Keep doors and windows locked. Don't leave property unattended or unsecured. Ask strangers to wait in reception areas. Keep valuables out of sight. Bicycle safety. That's how I heard earlier. I was going to be talking to this large group was bicycle safety. So somebody asked them a question about bicycle safety. As I understand it, every dorm has bicycle lockers, if not someplace a bike rack to lock up their bicycles. Another way that you can help with the recovery of a stolen bike, if your bike does get stolen, is registering it through UCPD. Now, during Bear Orientation, we used to call it Welcome Week, so I had to think about it for a second. During Golden Bear Orientation, we'll have somebody out on the plaza, out on Sproul Plaza, and you'll get to know the plaza real well. And they'll be out there registering bicycles. We'll have one of our student employees doing that. You can get more information, again, on police.berkeley.edu about registering your bicycle. And what that does is it puts a sticker and your serial number into our database. So if your bike is ever stolen, you can say, hey, my bike was stolen. I don't have my serial number. Oh, we do. And we can enter it into what we call the automated property system, which is statewide. If it gets recovered, they can run the serial number and get it back to you. This is just good in general for everybody, right? When you're traveling at night, Oh, how much time do I have? I didn't know I had a time limit. Jeez. Okay. Travel with a friend. Travel with a group. Pay attention to your surroundings. Probably one of the biggest, or one of the most thing we see is this. Right? That does two things. One, you got a good chance to get hit by a bus. You guys will learn about AC Transit later. Two, the other thing it does, it tells the thieves what you have, right? Especially if you have your earbuds in, you're not paying attention, you're not listening to your surroundings, you don't hear the 3 or 4 people that came walking up behind you. So we discourage the use of your cell phones when you're walking and you're not aware of your surroundings. Obviously, you get a phone call, you're going to take it, do all those kinds of things. But just be aware, have your student be aware of it, that when you're on your phone, texting, and, I don't know, what are they, Instagramming, I had to think about it. Instagramming or doing whatever it is they're doing, they're more susceptible, they become more of a target, and they're not, able to understand what's going on around them. Oh, I think I might have lost the clicker, hold on. Avoid dark or vacant areas or deserted. Use well-lit, frequently traveled routes. Now, I know exactly what you guys are thinking. We've never been here before. We haven't lived here before. My student hasn't lived here. Well, that's where the RAs and some of our more seasoned students can help you out. Find a buddy, find somebody to walk you around campus at night, or walk your student around at night, say, hey, this is a good place to go, this is not a good place to go, and they'll be able to tell you all that good information. There's another thing you do at night. Nightsafety.berkeley.edu. We've got 3 services that are provided to students for safety. There's the Bear Walk shuttles, which are actual shuttles that go door to door. And this is on the website. Oh, it's right there. Dusk. 3 a.m. Dusk to 3 a.m. That's not door to door. This one's door to door. 3 a.m. to 5:30 is door to door. And then the Bear Walk shuttles is 7:30 to 3. The other option we have is what's called Bear Walk. We have student employees who are background checked and fingerprinted, and they're employed by UCPD and their fellow students. They wear a bright yellow UCPD shirt. They carry a police radio, which links them directly into the police department. Their student will reserve a walk, and that Bear Walk employee, our CSO, will walk them from place to place. So they'll be their buddy. If they don't have a buddy to walk with, they'll walk them from the library back to their dorm. Now, obviously, they're not going to walk them from here to Emeryville, so there is a geographic location. You can't say, hey, I want to go to Target. Can you walk me to Target? ATM, don't use the ATMs during daylight. Look for suspicious people or activity. Shield to caution. I'm getting the green light over here, like I need to get going. Survivor support specialist. Should your student become the victim of a crime, we have support services within our police department that can link them to other partners within campus to get them the resources that they need. We all hope that never happens, and my goal is to make sure it doesn't happen, but it's there if it does. Smoking. There is 0 smoking allowed on campus anywhere, any place. I should have started off with that. So here's the policy. I wish I could take credit. It wasn't written by me, but there it is. More information is on the website and about the rules and regulations about that. And so if you need more information, that's what it is. Emergency preparedness. Here's our app, oem.berkeley. I know there's a lot of websites. oem.berkeley.edu. You can download the app, and it'll give you more information regarding a bunch of other things. Ha! Did I get through? Look at that. I made it. All right. Again, like I had said, UCPD is here. It's a resource. It's here for your students, for you. Like I said, I'm not the only one at their department that has the same feelings. We've got plenty of Cal grads that are within the department who really do care about your students. I want to make sure that they have a good opportunity and good resources for us. So if you have any questions, I'll be around for a little bit. I can't take everybody's questions, but I'll be around for a little bit in the lobby if you have any questions. I don't think I got anything. Did I get everything? Okay, perfect.
Wonderful. And I want to remind you all of those things, your students actually already been told every single piece of information that was showed up on that slide. Did you all know that? The online module Golden Bear Prep that your students took before they arrived had every single piece of that information in there. Also, before night hits on the first day of Golden Bear orientation, their orientation leader will review all of this with them again. So they will get all of this. And if they're ever worried about, I don't know how Bear Walk works, it's on the back of their Cal 1 card. Everyone's like, I don't have the number. Yeah, you do. They really do. So know that that is always there. We really care about the safety and security of our students. And we know that students are coming from a lot of different places and are getting used to being in an urban environment. And we have incredible city around us, and we want to make sure students are aware of that and are also giving back to our city. And there's so many people who actually live here. When your students leave, they're people who continue to live here. And so we want to incorporate them into the entire community. So we have our wonderful relationship with our UCPD, as well as they have so many student staff who work for them. So like I share with you all, I am going to be your fill-in just for today about academic success and what does that look like at UC Berkeley. So before we jump in, you hear it, I think we already talked about this, Berkeley is the #1 state institution in the world. And that can feel daunting. Or what does it actually mean to be a part of a research institution? Or it's kind of nuts, but the only real parking spots on this campus are for people who've won Nobel Prizes, and we're running out of spots. Which is great. And that could feel a little intimidating to students. What does this look like? How do I actually succeed? And I can make a very strong guess that all of your students were strong academically and outside the classroom. They thrived. We know that academic component is who they are. That's a huge thing for them. But likely, how they learned, how they engaged in the classroom, how they engaged with their peers, how they engage with teachers is going to look very different from their experience, from wherever they have come from before. Berkeley students are being asked not just to learn things, but to understand them and apply them. And that looks so different. And that's why even those biggest classrooms, like a class like this, every student will have time in a discussion or a lab with a small group of students to be able to process and apply that information. It is not enough for our students just to know things. They have to know what they're going to do with it. Because it is ingrained within our motto of an institution and our vision and mission is that Berkeley students change the world. That's a lot of pressure. We give them so many tools. Sometimes I'll talk to the students, the ones who work in our office, and they will say things to me and I have no idea what they're saying. But I am so thankful that each one of them exists and are learning things. You heard from the student up here, she's a molecular and cell biology student. And the research that they will do, maybe even as a first-year student, is incredible. And it's beyond the sciences. There's research that connects them right away with things like education and looking at how students develop. There's so many opportunities for them. And they're going to learn about that over this upcoming week. But we want them to be successful, and that means utilizing resources. So how many of you, your students were kind of the lone wolf? They would come home from all their activities, they do their homework, and they're done. They've never done study groups, they've never done anything like that. They just got stuff. You can brag if that was your student. A few of them, awesome. They are going to need other people. It is the only way they are going to succeed on this campus. They need to utilize their peers, their GSIs, that's another acronym for you, our graduate student instructors. They're going to utilize their professors. They're going to utilize the resources within their college, those peer advisors. They have to use them because that first test will be hard. There is no way for every single one of them to still be 4.0 students or even 3.0 students. You have to find that balance. And so the first couple weeks in that transition, that's why the students have been working with their academic advisor virtually over the summer to figure out what classes should I take. And maybe I start with 13 units and not 20. And I got to work my way up for that success. And it will happen. And so your students, something important to know as a part of this campus is every single student has an academic advisor, which is an incredible resource. So every single person, whether it's associated with their college and connected to their major, but they could end up having another advisor. They could have an EOP, which are Educational Opportunity Program advisors. We could have a professor who also becomes a faculty advisor. They might have an advisor with financial aid. They might start working in new student services and consider me as an advisor. There are going to be so many people who are here to back up your students. But know, on the baseline, every single one of them has an academic advisor, and those academic advisors have reached out to your student many times already. But it will take your students meeting them halfway and through those resources. So throughout GBO, they're going to be connected to those again in person. But I do want to tell you about the incredible resource of the Student Learning Center. This is a central resource on campus that is open to all students and really helps them learn those basic tenets. So they focus on a lot of things, specifically math and reading and writing. They have adjunct courses. Students can actually get credit for studying. In their math class, they can take an adjunct course that goes with it, and so they'll all be in class together, and a small group of them will meet later with a guided faculty member or a staff member who's learned that course, and they will get credit for studying for their class. It's wonderful. They've been told about these things, but there's still opportunities to enroll in these. There's also courses that the SLC offers that teach students how to study, or what does it mean to be successful, or how to balance your time, and they'll get credit for learning how to learn, which is pretty wonderful. We have study groups, so students can either join a study group with other students in their major, or they could do drop-in advising. We have a whole writing center within there, so they can, if they're really, really on top of things, they'll write first draft, get it edited, second draft, get it edited, maybe third draft, and then turn it in. More than likely, it's first draft, then turn it in. So we're just trying at least one edit and utilizing those resources. And all of these individuals helping your students are current students. So these become jobs and opportunities afterwards. So this campus does not function without students helping each other out. And I think the Student Learning Center is the perfect example of that resource on campus. All right. So we have a lot. They really focus, like I said, on that peer-to-peer relationship. That is the most important part of their focus. And they really work on that collaboration piece. So most of their staff have also been undergraduates here. So they've sat in those classrooms that your students will sit in, and they will talk to them from that sense of understanding of what does it mean to be a student in a UC Berkeley class. And it might mean saying, maybe you should take one less class this semester, or maybe we really encourage you to take that adjunct class. Or, hey, you're interested in study abroad. How do you balance your schedule so you can still do all those things? So it's an incredible resource. Your students will actually all be going on a tour day one that stops them by this space. So I'm going to try, as our presenters come up here, to tell you all when in the next week they're going to get this information in different ways. So that's my little spiel. I hope I did all right honoring them. And I really know that your students will have the success here on this campus if they reach out and ask for help. And that's our message. Berkeley students, if they ask for help, there will be resources. And that's the message we're trying to teach them. So I'm going to pass things off and talk about the next piece of health and wellness. How do they continue to be a healthy human being while they're here? And so I have the wonderful Dr. Harris Maskett of University Health Services to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like on this campus. And give them all a round of applause.
Hey everyone. Can you hear me? Oh, good. All right. Wow, you're packed. But I guess you already knew that. You got the hot one. Oh. Well, I sat in this classroom myself. I went to Cal many years ago, so I empathize. It was hot then too. So I will try to be as informative, concise, and hopefully at least a little entertaining to keep you alive. I know you have two questions, and basically we can boil down my presentation to two things. One, are we real doctors, and do we do real healthcare, and are we good at this? I think so. I think so. I've been there a number of years. I think we're terrific. I think what we provide is not just a student health, what you might think of as being, a doctor, a nurse, and a phone. We provide a real high level of top medical care. I say that with all my heart. The second question is, can your child go to the Tang Center if they don't have the insurance? I'm sure some of you were thinking about that. And so if you have separate insurance questions, the answer was yes. If you have insurance questions, I'm happy to stay afterwards and answer them. And I'm also going to put my email up on the board so you can email me. Because it's not a secret what our emails are. It's our name @berkeley.edu. So you could have found me, so I'm just going to write it on the board. Mickey, are you here? No, she's gone. Do you have anything after this one? Yes. Okay, you do. Well then, after this one, I will disappear up to there, and anybody who wants to find me, you can. And I'll write my email up here. It's hmaskett, and then I know you know the code. health@berkeley.edu. Okay, now on to the presentation. We'll go into it a little bit more. This presentation is online. This presentation you have access to. So you can film it. Go ahead. I know you're filming me, but that's all right. Pretend you're filming that. But you have access to it, so you don't need to write everything down. If you want to take pictures, of course, I get it. I do that too. We're smart. But you have access as well. So this is the Tang Center. This is what it looks like. It's a beautiful building. It looks brand new, but it's a few years old. It's like 25 years old now. It's a terrific building. If anything, I wish it was bigger because we do so much there. So do I have a laser? Oh, cool, laser. So this is where we are right now. Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. And this is where the Tang Center, or a UHS, is. And we put it here so that when people get injured, they can fall down right into UHS. All the streets lead down. It's perfect. It wasn't my idea, but I like the idea. All right, so who can go there? Everyone can go there. I know some of you are thinking, why did I wave? Why did I not wave? What happened there? I can't totally speak to that, but I'm happy to hear you complain to me about it afterwards. But regardless, your children can go to the Tang Center. And the only difference will be a little copay on the way out the door, or a little difference in the cost of their strep test that they'll get 10 times in this next year. But they can go. And we will provide them all the care that we would provide had they not gone there, or had they not had the insurance, or had the insurance. Does that make sense? I heard a yes, so I'll go with that. This is a picture of some of our doctors. I think we just show you this so that you know that we're doctors, because it says doctor under our name. If you can find me, that means you have an imagination for what like a time machine would look like, because that picture was taken a while ago. But I'm there. Here's the Go Tang thing that we created. It's kind of like a Monopoly board for those kids who like Monopoly. It shows them a little bit in Monopoly setting. What are all these resources we have? There's a lot there. And so like I said, it's not just a phone, a doctor, and a nurse. You'd be surprised all that's there. If any of you has an experience with Kaiser, and in that Kaiser has so many things across so many buildings, it's very similar to that, but all in one building. So the department might be just one person, one individual department, but we have a lot of things going on there. This is an example that we have primary care, the urgent care. I'm the director of the urgent care. I'm there all the time, and we're there 7 days a week. But we have specialty care. We have counseling. We have psychiatrists. There's a pharmacy. Every medication you would want, we can get it there. There's radiology. Yes, we do x-rays, and hopefully soon we'll have CT and ultrasound. Well, actually, we do have ultrasound. I want to expand the program. We have lab. We can do all the kinds of lab tests you might imagine. Yes, it's a real place. Physical therapy. We do allergy shots. We do travel vaccines and travel education. We have health educators. Social services, which is like social workers who can help them with all different kinds of things that they might need. And it's just a lot. So how would you access us? That's the big one. How do they access us? I don't know why we have a picture of a phone. Children don't use phones. But we have a phone if you want to call us. They don't tend to call. We call them, and we leave them messages saying, please get back to us. We have information for you. But they don't tend to call. We try to text, but there's not a lot of texting that's secure. So mostly email and walk-in. But the good thing, as you saw, is they're right by campus, so we see people all the time. They just walk in all the time. But they can access us online, and they can just walk in, like I said. So we have a primary care clinic. This is the #1, if they ask you, this is the #1 used clinic in the whole practice. Most of the visits come through here. It's basically primary care. It's basically where you go for your regular medical visits. If you have medications that you just need prescribed because you had them prescribed at home, that's a great place to go. You need lab tests. You need advice about a rash. Whatever it is, it's basically primary care. Making an appointment looks like it's easy. It's a little challenging. I made this one, and I've really tried to make it better. There's limitations to the software, but I'm sure your children are good with software, so they'll figure it out. But we have appointments every day. We have same-day appointments, and so they can always access us. And if they can't, They might call, or they can just walk in. Then there's the urgent care, my favorite. This is basically like you would imagine. It's an urgent care. It's the campus emergency room. People come in there with a big laceration. People come in there with the worst headache of their life. People come in there with a broken ankle. And so if they feel like there's something seriously wrong, go there. If they have a question, is this seriously wrong? That's a good place to call, or just walk by. I mean, that's one of the things I think that's unique about what we have, is that we're right next to campus. They're walking to class. They detour into the urgent care. We say, no, you're fine, go to class. And then they're on their way. It's really nice to be this close. And I advise them to please come in. Don't wait, just come in. We are open on the weekend. Just the urgent care is open on the weekend. And we're open Saturday, those hours, Sunday, those hours. And it's very well used on the weekend. So if, I'm telling you this, I don't know if your children even listen to you anymore, but hopefully they are seeing this as well, and they'll see this information and come into the urgent care. I say that because my daughter just started high school today. Wow. First day of high school. And she didn't even say goodbye. She just I saw her down the street. It was amazing. It was a great experience. I said, bye. All right, so counseling. We have counseling and psychiatrists. So the counselors are they come from a variety of different degrees, but they're counselors. They're certified and trained counselors. They're terrific at things that affect college health and college-age populations. And then we have psychiatrists there as well, who can prescribe medications, psychiatric medications, and things like that. You can also walk in or call, and they have drop-in urgent psychiatric appointments available every day of the week except the weekends. Only we're open on the weekend. This is an important one, and we just made this slide, so I wish it were prettier, but this slide is trying to tell them you can access care in a lot of ways without ever walking in or ever leaving your phone. And they love that, right? They can make appointments to have an STI check, so they don't even have to have an appointment. They can just say, oh, I should get that checked. Boom, and then they walk in, they get the test. They can make an appointment, or they can go online and do a release of records so that you can talk to us about their medical care. They can complete their forms like they've been doing for immunizations. They can ask questions. They can ask the SHIP insurance people questions. They can write to me or to their doctor or to their nurse practitioner and ask questions. So this is a great way for them to access care in a way that they like to do it, right? So this is just a summary slide of that, saying that they can reach out to us on what's called the patient portal, or eTang. They can always walk in, call or message a nurse or me in the urgent care. And after hours, so we're only open a certain number of hours during the day, they can reach us if they have SHIP by calling our main line, and they'll be directed to a nurse remotely. There's also an after-hours psychiatric service that they can reach remote after hours as well. That's a SHIP benefit. And if they call our main line and we're closed, they will be directed to those resources. Okay? Wow, that's a good segue. There's a video tour that you can take. There's a video tour you can take online. You can read about our resources online. If we have to, in the case of somebody being significantly ill, the number one reason we transport people is usually belly pain, worrying about appendicitis. Another one might be a significant fracture that needs to be set in an operating room, that kind of thing. We send them to hospitals nearby. If they have Kaiser, they go to Kaiser. It's about 3 miles away. If they don't, we send them to Alta Bates, which is about 1 mile away. We consult with those hospitals all the time, so we have a good working relationship with them. I'm sure you're all very familiar with immunizations and this whole process. Today we had our first immunization fair. The 13th, we have more for the next week and a half. So for anybody who has not gotten their immunization requirement met, there are plenty of opportunities to have it met in the next week and a half. And also, these are just days when we're doing a mass immunization. People, it's easy to walk in, but they can come in any day, works for them. Okay? Any questions about that one? Yeah. Is Berkeley, the question was, is Berkeley going to be doing a specialized meningitis shot, right? So we have the newer meningitis shot. We can do that here. I don't know if we're doing that in the immunization fair because I'm not sure that that's required immunization. I'm not sure if that's a required immunization. I know immunization to meningitis is required. I'm not sure if you need all the different types, but it's available if the student wants it. Any other questions? Yeah. Flu shots. Yes, we do flu shots when they come out. Flu shots usually come out in around October for the flu season, which usually starts in November or December. All right. An important tip. 3 minutes. Okay. An important tip. If your children have been, or child has been dealing with anything long term, they go to a doctor, they get care elsewhere, and they want to start getting care here, we are happy to take over that. In fact, I suggest you're a little proactive about it, or your children are a little proactive about it. Reach out to us right away, have records transferred to us, even if they're seeing, like, let's say, a rheumatologist or a gastroenterologist, and they don't really need primary care, they need a specialist. We can help coordinate that, house records there, get all their lab tests done at the Tang Center. In general, if they're seeing specialists, it's great to have primary care help hold the whole big picture. And if they just need to get into primary care to get other things treated, like asthma or other problems, migraines, whatever it is, we're happy to do that. But it's good to get ahead of that. Most of the time, your children tend to, I mean all of our children, they tend to sort of wait till the last minute and they show up late September saying, I'm supposed to have all my tests done today and get that shot today, and it's just, it's hard to do that. I can tell you from experience, most of them will come in at the end of September and they will have run out of energy. Their bodies make it about a month. And all of the lack of sleep and how much fun they're having and how much studying they're doing and just living on their own, they last about a month that way. And you see it because like a few weeks from now, they're saying, I'm sleeping 2 hours a night. I'm having the best time of my life. And I'm like, okay. And I've said to one of them, you need to sleep more than that. She said, I can't. I'm like, okay. So it's interesting. They're really learning a lot right now. This is, I think, one of the best things about going off to college is doing this on your own, but it also makes it one of the most challenging things for their health because that's the thing that's going to fall apart. By the end of September, they all have mono and strep and headaches and chest pain and anxiety. And that's why we're here. This is a slide about insurance. If you have any questions about insurance that aren't answered by this, I am not the insurance expert, but I know a lot about it. So I'm going to bring my stuff back up there after this talk is done. If you have questions, I can try to answer them. I know that there was a waiver deadline. The waiver deadline is passed. So if you didn't waive, then you have SHIP. And I know that means to some people, I meant to waive. You should talk to the SHIP people and see if they will accept your late application. That does happen. That's happened to friends of mine. But I would tell you that SHIP is a very good insurance. It's maybe not what you intended to buy right now with your life, but it's a great insurance and it really does afford them some benefits for having it. Okay? Question? Yes, although if we're after 5, which we're getting close, yes, tomorrow. So the question is about reaching somebody at the SHIP office to ask these questions. Yes, there is somebody. If you call, I think their number was posted. Oh, there, perfect. That's a good number. There is a message that you have to listen to for about 2 minutes first before you get a human being. But that's a good number. You can also walk into the Tang Center, 3rd floor, and you can talk to somebody about it. They are supposed to be really helpful. Some of them are my really good friends. Some of them I don't know. But they're really helpful at answering these kind of questions. So I would suggest you reach out. I think we're done? We are done. Sorry, we are done. Thank you for your time and congratulations.
All right, thank you all so much. I'm so excited to welcome one of my favorite colleagues on this campus. He is the new, well, I'm going to let you say your title because it's new and it's fancy. But this is Zan, and he's going to talk to you all about our incredible community, our residential life community, which many of your students are moving into those communities right now.
Hello, hello. Oh, there we go. So hello all, my name is Zan Tanzi. I am the Associate Director for Single Student Living for Residential Life. Now, what does that mean? That's just a title, right? What it means is that I'm the professional responsible for the undergraduate experience of your students living with us here at UC Berkeley. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking to you about what programs we have available, some of the services, and then most importantly, how we partner with you as parents and family to help support your student during their time in residence. So what do we do? So residential life. We're the folks that hold the experience outside of the facility. So we partner with our housing and facilities colleagues to help shape the experience of your students while they're living with us. So that means that we're going to cultivate and support the experience of students. We also are one of the few common experiences that your students are going to have across campus. So New Student Services, GBO, is the first shared experience, and then they're going to pass off your students to us, where we're going to get to spend the rest of the year with over 90% of your students while they live with us for their first year. We really see this as an opportunity to launch your students for success. So as a soft landing pad for your first year students, for your incoming transfer students, to really help them be successful as they navigate the university for the first time. But the question you might be asking is, how do we do that? We do that through our wonderful, amazing professional staff. So we have 16 professional resident directors and senior resident directors. They're all master's level professionals with a number of years of experience in the field, and they live in the communities with our residents. And they are there to help build community, help to respond during emergencies, help to support students during their best and most challenging moments when they're in residence. And they also supervise our amazing student staff. So we have our resident assistants. How many of you are familiar with a resident assistant? Right, so fairly common position across college campuses. So they are exceptional students. To give you an example of how competitive this role is, we had 520 applicants this year for 70 positions. So they had to work very hard to get into this role, and we are thrilled to have them here. So we have our resident assistants. We also have our senior resident assistants, who are our student staff members who've been with us for at least a year and step into a leadership role where really they not only get to help connect with residents, they will have students in the community. They also serve as a mentor to the fellow residents and serve as an advisor to the Hall Association or student government in each of the buildings. And then finally, our theme program assistants are our third live-in student position, and they are our student staff that are involved in our 7 living learning communities here in residence. They serve all the functions of an RA+. So they also help to develop community around the exceptional programs that we have for our themes. Some of you might have students moving into those themes coming up shortly. And then last but not least here is a non-residential position that is a key cornerstone of our student staff, and those are our residential tutors. So as I shared earlier, part of our vision and role is to help launch your students for success during their time here at UC Berkeley. And while there are exceptional academic resource services on campus, we also want to meet students where they live. So in the evenings, we host tutoring throughout a number of our residential communities hosted by these tutors around courses and subjects that we know our first year and incoming transfer students oftentimes need additional support. So chemistry, math, we have writing tutors. They also host study sessions at key points during the year, and they're an exceptional group of students who really help support our residential community. Finally, when we talk about academic support, we have a resident faculty program. We have 5 wonderful faculty members who live in residence. They live here with your students. They have an opportunity to really demystify the faculty experience for students as they come to a large research university. It can be very intimidating sometimes for our students to figure out how to approach faculty. But once you see a faculty member eating dinner, potentially taking their children on a walk or playing, engaging as they're going to and from class, it humanizes them, and it also creates a sense of accessibility that we're hoping will help to demystify the academic experience and help students begin to become more comfortable with interacting with our exceptional faculty. So I said who we are, but what do we do? Like I said earlier, we are a common experience, and we help to launch our students for success, but what does that practically mean? Well, that means we start with our residential student experience here, which is grounded in our 5 learning goals. And these 5 areas are the areas that we focus on when we are looking to support your students in residence. Our student staff are going to engage in programs and events and experiences that will touch on all these 5 learning goals. And our goal is that by the end of their year with us in residence, they will have had an opportunity to explore and reflect on each of these areas as they move on in their student career. What else do we do? Let's get to the nitty-gritty of it, right? When they move in, what's important? They all want to know, how is it going to be living with a roommate? Many of your students may not have lived with someone beforehand, and if they have, oftentimes they're living with someone that they're familiar with, like a sibling or a relative of some kind. Now, we're challenging them to potentially live with someone that they've never met beforehand. And yes, they've gone on Facebook, they've texted, they've emailed, they've Snapchatted, they've made some connections, but this is the first time that they're going to be coming together in person. So one of the first things that our staff is going to do is to cultivate a conversation around how do you live with another person in a shared space. It's a skill that we all, at some point, hopefully, need to develop to have shared living environments. But we start with roommate agreements. That link is going to be sent directly to your students. And at first, they're going to say, no, I'm perfect, right? My roommate and I are best friends. It's not a problem. We've connected. We've texted. We agree on everything, right? That's the perfect moment. That's the moment we say, fantastic. While you're in a good space, fill out your roommate agreement. And they're going to say, no, I'm fine. We're wonderful. They're going to say, again, fill out your roommate agreement. Our RAs, our TPAs, our SRAs are going to follow up with your students and ask them to complete this while they're in their best moments, so that when they hit their most challenging moments with their roommate, which some of them will, that they're prepared with this. So it's a very important tool, and that's why we stress it here at the beginning. What else do? We focus on academic support. As I shared, we have our exceptional tutoring program in residence that we're housed, and this is in partnership with our colleagues on campus who also host a number of academic support services. But in residence, we also have other services available that we want to encourage your students to take advantage of. A big one that I would highlight here are our L&S peer advisors in residence. When your students are approaching the first time that they are getting potentially their first set of grades, or the first moment when they're going to want to register for their classes for spring semester, their instinct may be to reach out, if they are in the School of Letters and Sciences, to reach out to the formal advising office here on campus. It's actually one of the key offices is right here in Dwinelle. They are a fantastic resource, but we often encourage our students to start with an easy-to-access resource right here, where they can interact with students who have been trained extensively on advising services and oftentimes can answer the basic and entry-level questions that your students are going to ask. The other thing that they're amazing at is identifying very quickly students who need intervention and need to be connected to professional staff advisors who can support them further. So again, when you're hearing from your students, hey, I need to check in about advising, ask them if they've gone to our advisors in residence. We also host our academic resource centers in residence. There's one in each of our units. Some of them will host our tutoring program. Others will be available as a general resource for your students to access. This is where they can do printing. This is where there are computers available. But most importantly for our students in terms of how we recognize the way that they engage with each other when they're studying is it's a shared space. It's where they can come together and practice shared studying, reflection, preparing for their courses, and we encourage them to take advantage of that. And then, of course, our residential faculty program. So let's talk about working in partnership, right? That's why I'm here today. It's to partner with you all to make sure and to help your students be successful during their time here in residence. So here's the philosophy that we take as a department, which is help us help your student help themselves. And the help your student help themselves is a really key part of our philosophy. Yes, we want to be a partner with you as parents to ensure that they are happy and satisfied in their residential experience. We also want to empower our students to take ownership of their experience in residence. So the first question I always encourage a parent who I interact with to ask is, what has your student done to address the situation? If it's a roommate conflict, if they're looking for a resource, if they're having an issue in any way, shape, or form, because we want the students to feel empowered during their living time with us so that they can develop the skills that they're going to need when they move beyond our residential program into living off campus, right? So that is a key point that we have here. But there are moments, potentially, where it's challenging, right? So I talked about the roommate conflict. So let's say your student has filled out the roommate agreement in the best moment possible, and now they've hit a moment of conflict with their roommate. Not that it's ever going to happen, right? They're all going to be best friends. But if and or when it does happen, Here are some things that I would ask and encourage each of you to consider when they call home saying, I can't live with this person anymore, I have to move out immediately, there is no solution. So start with these questions. Did you talk to your roommate? You would be surprised how many of our students answer no, of course not. I left a Post-it note. I wrote an email. And oftentimes it's because confrontation is hard, right? It's difficult, it's challenging. You're not sure of the outcome. So we always want to make sure that they're having that conversation first. Next is, did you request assistance from your RA, TPA, SRA? Sometimes the answer is, no, why would I do that? The secret is, our RAs, SRAs, and TPAs have gone through extensive training on conflict mediation, on helping to alleviate some of these issues as they come up in residence. And then finally, if it's something that's escalated really far, the question is, did you go see your resident director? As I shared in the beginning, our resident directors are highly skilled professionals. All of them are master's level with years of experience. And they are happy, willing, and able to support your students when they need to navigate some of these more challenging situations that come in residence. Next piece here is knowing the community standards. So knowing the rules. So all of your students have signed a housing agreement. And I know when I click a checkbox online, like let's say I'm updating my iTunes, do I read the 47 pages of terms and conditions? No, I'm sure the Apple Corporation probably owns my kidney at this point. But we don't want our students to interact with our community standards in the same way. We want to make sure that they're aware of what our expectations are, but also what their rights are in our community. So again, we really want to encourage them to review the Residential Code of Conduct. They're going to hear this language directly from our RAs during their first evening, but it's really important that they have an understanding of what our expectations are as a community. This is the link right here. They will also get a message from us tomorrow with a direct link to it, encouraging them to review it once more. But this is a part of their housing contract. And finally, just simply, if they call home because something's not working in their room, right? The light doesn't work, the internet's out. Oftentimes, their first instinct is going to call you. And you're going to say, well, I am not going to drive here to change your light bulb. I can't fix the internet. But what can you do? You can encourage them to submit a maintenance request, which is right here at maintenance.housing.berkeley.edu. So again, this goes back to the point of help your student help themselves. We want them to take ownership of that experience, and we want them to have a great time while we're together here in residence. So again, my name is Zan Tanzi. I'm the Associate Director for Single Student Living. Welcome your students, and we look forward to getting to meet them all very soon.
All right. Thank you all I know it's getting toasty in here. We're saving our best two for last. So you've just heard from many folks on campus, and our final two presenters are going to talk to you a little bit about financial aid and scholarships, as well as Cal Student Central, and how, yeah, you guys can see you all waking up right now. They're incredible individuals who work hard as parts of bigger teams to serve your students, and knowing that the financial piece is a huge part of their success here. So I want to encourage you to give them your attention. As I've shared with you all before, they have a lot to go over, and because the billing information is so unique to individual students, they're going to clarify where to find those resources specific to your needs as the time comes along. So I want to welcome them here.
Maybe I should. Can you hear me? All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Save the most exciting for last, finances, financial aid. I'm sure if you were students, you'd all be sleeping right now, so thanks for paying attention. My name is Claudia Villacana. I work in the Financial Aid and Scholarships office, and I'm joined here by my colleague, Carmen Ortiz, and she's from Cal Student Central. So I'm just going to quickly go over some stuff about financial aid, how financial aid works, and then kind of how to read your financial aid, your students' financial aid on their Cal Central. Okay. So in order to get financial aid, you need to apply. So every year, you need to apply every year, and the priority deadline is March 2nd. And it opens up October 1st. So keep that in mind. This is a yearly thing. The free application for federal student aid is for students who are U.S. citizens and permanent residents. And for those who are not eligible for the FAFSA but are AB 540 eligible, they would fill out the California Dream Act application for their financial aid. And also, we get this a lot, how does my student get scholarships? For our scholarships in the financial aid office, it's just these applications. We use this to determine their eligibility for scholarships. There's no separate application. Okay, so from these applications, we determine your expected family contribution. And the expected family contribution is a parent contribution and a student contribution. So if your student ever worked, that is included on the FAFSA, that's taken into consideration. And the expected family contribution is based on a lot of different things. It's not just this simple, how much do I make, how much am I gonna get? It's pretty complicated. It takes into consideration things like your family income, your assets, how many people are in your family, how many people in your family are in college, things like that. And then, so your expected family contribution is a number that you get and say, okay, where you can possibly, we expect that you can contribute to this amount in a year for your family's student's education. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have that just laying around. You know, it can be utilized by savings, employment earnings, and we also give educational loans to help you with that expected family contribution as well. Okay, so this is the cost of attendance for this year. You can tell that how many of your students are living in the residence halls? A lot, that's what I figured. Okay, so there are different budgets depending on where your student is living, okay? So everyone is billed directly for these tuition and fees up here, and then only if you're living on campus, if your student's on campus, are they going to be billed directly for housing. So there are different budgets for wherever your student's going to live. These are direct costs, so what they'll be billed for directly, but then also included are all of these other costs. So food that is not included in the meal plan. A lot of times the meal plan is not everything. Books and supplies, transportation, if they want to go visit you, all of that is included in what's called their cost of attendance. And then we use that number to give students financial aid to make sure that they're able to not only buy their books and pay their tuition, but also get shampoo and transportation, things like that. So that's what the cost of attendance means. And so how we determine the financial need and what you get with your financial aid is we take your cost of attendance, subtract your expected family contribution, and that's what's called your need-based eligibility. So we give you need-based aid for that. Okay, and that is, I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means. So our need-based aid is our gift aid, so anything that you don't have to pay back. So that's on the left-hand side, it comes from federal and state. It also comes from the institution. So you can see the different kinds of grants and scholarships that your student may see. That is all need-based. And then also need-based is subsidized loans and work study. Students can bring in outside scholarships, which is great. And also to help with that expected family contribution, we'll give you unsubsidized loans and Parent Plus loans. Are you going to see all of this? Definitely not, but these are the different awards that you may expect to see in your package. Okay, so the types of educational loans. So for undergraduate students, there's the, through the federal government, the federal direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Subsidized loans are not accruing interest while your student's in school. Unsubsidized loans are, and you don't have to pay either back until 6 months after they graduate or drop below half-time or withdraw from school. And then the Berkeley loan is also subsidized. That's just a loan that comes from the institution. And then there's something that some of you may see that's called a Parent Plus loan, and that's under the parent's name. So the first one's all under the student's name, second under the parent's name, and then also some students may choose to look at a private student loan as well. Just make sure you're looking at the terms and conditions so that you understand everything that's involved with that. So how much should I borrow? I get this question a lot, especially at the beginning of every semester. Students will come in and say, I'm offered this full amount. You never have to accept the full amount if you don't need it. So I really encourage students to create a budget, which is really fun and they love it, to determine what their actual expenses are going to be, because that cost of attendance is just an estimate. So what are their expenses going to be? Add up all of their sources of income, not including their loans. So all of their income minus all of their expenses, that's what they may need to borrow in loans for the year. So they don't ever have to borrow the whole amount that they're offered. Alternatives to borrowing, working. A lot of times, students may not want to work the first semester. That's totally fine. But, maybe the spring semester, if they can find a work study job or another job around campus, that's really helpful. and also reducing spending. So only borrow what you need is a really important message that we emphasize a lot here. So also budgeting tools. There are a lot of apps that your students can use. I know that they're probably not going to want to balance their checkbook. So those are some helpful tools there. Okay, here's some information about work study. I would say I'm running out of time, so go to the work study website and they can check out opportunities for work study. I wanted to talk about Cal Central and how you can view financial aid. So once you go into My Finances, this is what your student's going to see. Go under View Awards, and that is where they're going to see the breakdown of their awards. So it'll be broken down here by gift aid, loans, and then this is their cost of attendance as well. So this is really important, is to really encourage your students to make sure that they are looking for if we're missing anything from them. If there's any tasks or missing information, their financial aid may not disperse. So you want to make sure that they're looking at that. And then communications, they can also, if they do end up borrowing loans, view their loan history here. That's something new this year. Okay, so once your financial aid disperses, first day was today, it goes towards your account balance, and if there's anything left over, your student will get a refund. If there's a remaining balance, and that's what you'll owe. Okay, outside scholarships, I really highly encourage students to apply for outside scholarships. If a student brings a scholarship in, we can't give them more financial aid than their cost of attendance. So what happens is it comes in and replaces some of their subsidized loans and work study before it replaces any gift aid. Okay, so if you need to let the financial aid office know about something that's happened, either there's been a loss of income or something that is not reflected on the FAFSA, you can let us know that by submitting a parent contribution appeal, a student contribution appeal, if it's a student loss of income. And you can do the cost of attendance adjustment request if your student is just paying a lot more for something than what we've given them. So if there's something that's a special circumstances, let us know about it, and it may change your financial aid. And also, we have a financial wellness program on campus. I mentioned budgeting. Have your student come and visit us, and we'll help them create a budget for the year, for the semester. We're in 211 Sproul Hall. And any financial aid questions will go to Cal Student Central, and I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Carmen in Cal Student Central.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi. Can everybody hear me? Yes. I know it's the end of the day and we're tired, but I want to invite everybody to give yourself, the parent, a hand. Give yourself a hand. Why? Because you got your students here. Your students are the cream of the crop. They got themselves into Berkeley, and that is no easy feat. So you did not raise any dummies. So for that, you deserve a round of applause and definitely all of our respect. So my name is Carmen Ortiz, and I'm the director of Cal Student Central. And I am also financially challenged. I mean, not financially challenged. That was Freudian. Okay, so our commitment to you and to your students is to transform the student experience one student at a time, to lift any barriers that may lead to attrition, because as hard as they work to get here, we don't want them to say it's too hard, I'm going to leave. And so I want to make sure that it's administratively easy for them to come to school. I want to make sure that we're a bridge for students, and we want to take a holistic approach to them, to their administrative needs. We want them to understand that there are financial and administrative ramifications to their academic decisions. How many people know that if your student is not making satisfactory academic progress, financial aid is impacted? Okay, if your student does not know that, make sure you do not leave until you tell them. You have to have a minimum of a 2.0 in order for financial aid to disperse. Okay. So, and then we also want to make sure to be the go-to place for students and for parents. Because we're the go-to place, we're always busy, always impacted. So I ask that you just extend us some grace. We are working really, really hard to make sure that we're meeting everybody's need, but I do know that there's frustration in getting through on the phones. And we're working on that. I mean, I acknowledge that. It's a staff that is working really, really hard, but sometimes it's very difficult. So I ask for some grace, and then I will give everybody my email address after so that you can email me directly if you have a dire situation that needs help. Our services are financial aid questions. We also offer transcripts, emergency loans, help with understanding your bill and your payment options, determining why registration may be blocked and how to remove a block, residency questions, eligibility and appeals, including the impact on financial aid and fees. I believe that everything has to pivot around something substantial and something kind. Everything works better if you extend grace and kindness. So I believe in 4 keys. We treat everybody with courtesy and respect. We communicate, we're efficient, and we're accountable. We also have 3 service avenues, which are in person, and that's at 120 Sproul Hall, over the phone, and web to case. So our queuing system. How many of you came to Cal Student Central today? So if you did, you were asked for your cell phone number and then you got a text, right? So our students don't have to wait in a physical line. They only have to wait once to sign in, and then we text them. We give them their time back. We text them when we're ready to see them. They can push themselves back in line, or they can say, you know what, forget it, I'll come back tomorrow, and they can take themselves out of line. And we do that through this little cute little system. It's called Qless. The little avatars will tell them how much time they're expected to wait, and then we can use that as an algorithm, and it works really, really well for us. We also have Salesforce, which we use to capture and share information, and you can use this to open your case online, to ask a question directly from your computer. Our turnaround time is between 24 and 72 hours, but we're working really, really hard to make it as close to real time as possible. And this is what Salesforce looks like for us. And you can open a case through our website, which is studentcentral.berkeley.edu. There's an open a case option. You can submit your question, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Our phone number is 510-664-9181. Our phone hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and 1 to 4 p.m., and we're working really hard to answer as many calls as possible. I acknowledge, in the spirit of courtesy and respect and accountability, I acknowledge it's hard to get somebody on the phone. So thank you for extending that grace to us. We're at 120 Sproul Hall. That's the building across the hall that looks like the White House. We're at 120. Okay, so how many of you know what delegate access is? Okay, every parent must have delegate access in order for us to be able to discuss your student's specific situation. Now, the really, really hard part about that, if you're the parent, is your student will likely give you access to all the bills. You can pay all the bills, but they may not give you access to view their grades. And because they're considered adults and we have to follow the law, we cannot disclose anything they do not give us permission to disclose. So make sure that your student gives you delegate access, and make sure that you tell them, if you want us to pay the bill, let me know what your grades are. But in order to do that, the student will go to the Cal Central portal, and they can grant you access. They can grant anybody access that they want, and they can pick and choose what they want. We will not be able to disclose any information unless you have this, and you must know your code phrase. Now, it's really important to know that once your student grants you that, you're going to get an email, and in order for it to become clear, and for us to be able to honor that, you have to respond to that email, and that's what cements your ability to look at your student's account. Okay, and that's what it'll look like. They can go into their profile, go into delegate access, and then name you or whoever they want as their delegate. Okay, billing. So you can view your bill on your Cal Central portal. So Cal Student Central and Cal Central are 2 different things. Cal Student Central is the building, the White House, 120. That is Cal Student Central. That's the physical location. Cal Central is the portal. And that's where you can see all of your resources. You can look at the dashboard, which includes your academics, your financial aid, anything that has to do with billing, and anything that has to do with your academic progress. You can also make changes on there regarding your housing options, regarding your if you have a name change, if you have any changes, you can make those changes directly on Cal Central. But that is where you would view your bill and view anything related to your student. So for billing. When you want to see what your bill is, you go under the My Finances tab, you go into Details, and then you can make a payment. There are different ways to make a payment. It'll tell you what the bill is. It'll also tell you what financial aid has dispersed, and it'll tell you what you owe or what you're refunded. So to view your charges, you go into your balance, you pick a date range, and it'll tell you what your bill is. Your student will also get an email if they have any outstanding bills. How many of you know the significance of the 17th of this month? Very good. Okay, so the 17th is when the bill is due. But the good news is the university understands that sometimes there's a gap between financial aid dispersing and actually being able to pay the bill. So we made a rule. It's that we only, the bill is due on the 17th, but we allow the student to not be dropped for classes by only paying 20% of the bill by the 17th. If your aid has not dispersed or you have a financial challenge, you can come to Cal Student Central and request an emergency loan. And that emergency loan, if you're an in-state resident, will cover that 20%. And if you're out of state, will cover a portion of that. So again, you go, you search for the details, it tells you how much you owe, it tells you if you're overdue, past due, due now, and you'll know exactly where you are in terms of finances if you go onto the Cal Central portal. You have different payment options. Online payments, you can use your credit card, but please note that there's a 2.75% fee. E-check is the best way to go because there is no fee. There are also a foreign currency wire transfer, and if there are any international parents, tomorrow I'm addressing bio. For that orientation, I will let you know. I realize that there are some countries that have a hard time using Western Union, and we're working really hard to make sure that we're meeting international parents' needs. We also have a paper check or mail option, and you can do that by sending your payment to University Hall. Make sure that if you're submitting any kind of paper payment that it includes your student's ID number and that all payments are made payable to UC Regents, not to UC Berkeley. If you have a sponsored student, you can send an email to tpcsupport@berkeley.edu if you have any questions. And then if you have any more questions about how to pay your bill, studentbilling.berkeley.edu, and then just go into the payment options under the menu. Or you can come to Cal Student Central and we will walk you through. Okay, so this is more of the details of how to see if you've made your payment and how much your balance is. Again, you select your payment method, enter your information. Credit card payment, again, 2.75%, which, if you look at the amount that you're paying, it's probably, it's probably not the best way to go, but it's definitely an option. Yes. Okay. And then wire transfer, you can get a quote, and I will go over this in more detail when we go with the bio training. There's also third party. If you have a sponsored student, you can go to, again, send an email to tpcsupport@berkeley.edu. There's the mailing address, a fax number, and then how to do that. And all of this is available online. So I know that I'm short on time, so I'm going a little bit fast, but you can always do that, or you can come to Cal Student Central and we'll walk you through. Fee payment plan, very important to note that if you enroll in the fee payment plan, you have to enroll first before you make your first payment. If you make your first payment and then enroll, only the remaining balance will go into that, and it will seem like you didn't, it won't feel as seamless as you would want. So make sure that you know these are the installment dates. This is the first installment is August 17th, and then it's a month thereafter going forward. Again, this is more of how to know what your bill is and how to pay it. And then, but what you need to know, again, is that students must enroll in their classes. You have billing transactions, online payments, tuition and fees will be assessed if you're enrolled in one or more classes. I would suggest that everybody sign up for EFT, Electronics Funds Transfer, so that they can get their refund directly to their bank account and they don't have to stand in line. And again, enrolling in the tuition fee payment plan, make sure that you enroll prior to making your first payment. Delegate access, everybody knows that they're going to ask their student to give them access to their grades. Health insurance waivers were due by the 18th, but we were accepted until July 31st with a late fee of $75. If you have any questions about health insurance or SHIP, you can go online or you can come to Cal Student Central. Again, payment is due on the 17th. Financial aid disperses 10 days prior to the start of semester. The first disbursement came today, so have your students check their portal and do sign up for EFT. CNP self-assessment tool, your student can go in and see if they are subject for cancel for non-payment. If they feel that they're in trouble, have them come to Cal Student Central. We can assess their situation and put a protection on them. Let's see. Again, this is how it would look. It'll tell them if they're subject for cancel for non-payment, but their portal will tell them. And CNP key dates, again, are August 13th is the earliest the financial aid will disperse. By August 15th, they can come and sign up for an emergency loan if they need it. By the 17th, the official tuition date is due. August 21st is the last day to withdraw without obligation. And August 22nd, instruction begins. Okay, your resources. Everybody take a picture of this because these are your resources. But your most viable resource is your student and his or her ability to ask questions. Come to Cal Student Central. When in doubt, come to Cal Student Central. We will treat them with courtesy, respect, and allow them an opportunity to practice being an adult and navigate their new world. Enrolling in classes, if they have questions on enrolling in classes, they can go onto the academic guide and they can see like what's trending, what are the popular classes. AddDrop is very popular and this is a really good resource for that. Transferring credit, if they're transferring credit, they can go into the transfer credit website and you can just go onto the registrar's page and AP scores, transfer credit, all of that is reflected there. Oh yeah. Okay, so, yep, I can go back. So all of this will be available online. We are at time, but if you don't remember anything else about this presentation, just remember Cal Student Central, 120 Sproul Hall, and you can submit your questions online through the Open a Case option on our portal. Okay, it is a pleasure to welcome you. Again, you deserve all the praise for raising wonderful children, and I look forward to working with you as we traverse. Thank you.
All right. I know Carmen was about to head on to enrollment pieces. Know that all of your students got that information through Golden Bear Advising, which they've been taking since, if they're first years, May, transfers June. So none of that is new to them. Trust me when they say that. I want to say thank you to you all for being here. This is longer than any class your student will have to sit through. So you all are officially Berkeley graduates from that. And I thank you for your patience. Last year in this session, we had about 100 parents. You are proving that this group of incoming class has an incredible support system. So I'm so thankful for that. I thank you all for your patience, for your heat. It's been wonderful to have you. We are so excited to welcome your students over this next week through GBO. And welcome and go Bears.